Everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you're watching this stream, whether you're watching it right now, live with me here. It is just gone 10 o'clock in the morning UK time. I know that's not necessarily a convenient time for everybody, but you can always catch up with these after the fact. Just go back and check out the playlist, which you can find elsewhere on the channel. Should be a link somewhere in the show notes below. Well, we've had an interesting start to our journey with Williams. We haven't scored any points yet. I haven't actually loaded up the game, which I'll do momentarily. We had a bit of a smashing time on Tuesday in Australia and Imola. So Nick De Vries took out Lando Norris at the first corner in Australia. Then we got through the first lap unscathed in Imola, but then my PC crashed, so a different type of crash. And then we had a red flag at the first corner of the retry, sort of, I won't say restart, because we had to do a restart. But we restarted with Alex Albon minus a front wing because he had driven into one of the crashed cars at turn 1 at Tamburello. And the game didn't prompt us to change it. I was too busy trying to work out quite what was going on to realise that Albon had broken his front wing into 1,000 tiny pieces. So let's load the game. That would be a good start. If you're going to play F1 Manager, you probably need to have the game open. And that's exactly what we're going to do. It's going to come up over the chat. So what I'm actually going to do is just resize it so it fits down here. There we go. Let's turn the volume down on the screen so it's not so loud for you guys. Let's also have the sound coming through on the screen, unlike the other day where it didn't. So I was playing yesterday as Aston Martin. There's Williams. So let's load that up. I did have a little look around on the game to see what we can do better. So let's get stuck into it. We need to upgrade the car, and to do that we need better facilities. So we need to upgrade the factory. Well, we can manufacture 3 different things at the same time, which is relatively good. But if we upgrade it, that goes up to 4. And if we upgrade the design center, that means we can design 3 parts, which at the moment, very useful. So let's do that, especially with the amount of research we want to do for next season to make sure our car is up to snuff. We're going to focus on that, and perhaps as well, actually, we haven't actually got enough money now to upgrade our wind tunnel. We're only at $9 million. Nick De Vries does have a development point, so we're going to put that into his smoothness so he doesn't eat up the tyres. And I've been thinking about our reserve driver situation as well. I like Jack Aitken, but he's 26. But we're not going to use him, are we? We're not going to. We probably want to be finding Logan Sargent, who's now at High Tech. In the junior categories, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, the drivers move around all the time. They are never at the same team for like two races in a row, it would seem. So we're going to propose a contract to Logan Sargent as our reserve. 1 season. We'll give him a salary. Let's start off with $500,000, a start bonus of 50k. And basically this is pre-planning for 2023 in this game. He's accepted the contract. There we go. Hire. Job done. Logan Sargent signs for Williams. And essentially he will be in the car next season because we do need to have a rookie in the car every year. So we'll be just constantly scouting for the next top drivers. It's essentially up to us, I say us, I mean we, to, me, I say I mean me, it's essentially up to me to make a car good enough to win with basically any driver. We need more front wings because we don't have enough, because they've all been broken. So let's just manufacture 3 more of those. We've still got manufacturing spaces, but we haven't got any more design spaces. We're designing a new front wing, so yeah. Anyway, Miami is our next race. We have fallen to last in the constructors, and we are bottom with De Vries and Albon in the drivers. But worry not. There are 4 other drivers and 2 other teams that haven't scored any points yet, Haas and Aston Martin. So all we need to do is score, I don't know, 8th place and we'll be in a good position. But, you know, we need to make sure we're picking up points fairly regularly, because it's not easy managing this Williams team because the car is just so bad. Okay. Gearbox poor condition. Go to car setup. Powertrain. So we're just going to put... let's put a brand new engine in. What's that engine on? 54%. We'll put that one back in for Monaco. ERS is fine. Let's change the gearbox. Car 2 as well. Engine change on car 2. 55%. Car 2 is Albon for some reason. I don't understand why it's put it in like that. So our head of aero says we've got more wind tunnel time, but we don't have enough design spaces to use them. Hence the upgrade of the design center. Yeah. Right, let's go to performance targets. There's no point doing any of those. Let's do fastest lap just in case we decide to have some fun at the end of the race. So that's kind of what we spent the latter part of the Imola race doing, was trying to set the fastest lap. So yesterday I went through the stream from Tuesday to put together a highlights package which comes out tomorrow. It's like 25 minutes long, which, you know, pretty good actually. I thought from my own humble opinion, I thought I did a good job. Considering that Shotcut decided to keep crashing as I was doing. Oh my word, we've got a wet race coming our way on Sunday. That's going to be interesting. So, do you know what we're going to do? We are going to take... We're going to take Albon out of the car. We're going to put Sargent in the car. We're going to give him his debut in Formula One in his home state. Look how that turned out. Totally not planned, to be fair. We will just go to practice and simulate to qualifying. So if we can get Logan some boosted stats before he gets in the car next year, then that'll do him the world of good. Shock horror, Max Verstappen tops the times. We're actually slowest in practice. Aston Martin look like they're making some gains. Okay, so we've got reasonable setup confidence. What needs improving? The traction needs improving, so we'll do that, and that should just hopefully sort everything else out. Let's do this. Try 8.5, there you go, and then straights hopefully stays there. Traction will just bump that back. No, we'll leave that there for De Vries. Straights are optimal for Albon, but the braking stability is bad. And the traction is bad as well. So we need to do that. Hopefully that fixes everything. Let's simulate this session. We know we're going to get eliminated, barring an absolute catastrophe. De Vries only qualifying 20th for the first time. Albon 18th. Lance Stroll. He's out-qualified Stroll. Oh, for a second I thought that was a huge margin. But no, they're all on the 32.2. Actually very, very close. Only 8 thousandths of a second covering the bottom three. Wow. And we are still... Wow, we're almost a second off around this track. Because of the long corners, especially through the first sector, you need a car that works well through corners, and then you need a car that works well on straights. And I don't think our car does either. But we might be helped by a little bit of rain. And look at the rain that's going to be coming in. Wow, we've got not just sprinkles, straight line raining. That's going to be full wet weather stuff. So I think we take the same route as we did in Australia in the last stream for a race with a wet start. And it's actually going to dry out. I don't know if you can see it because my head's in the way. Yeah, on the preview I can see it to my right. Yes, it's going to dry up towards the end of the race. So if we can get on those dry tyres at the right time, we could potentially steal a point. Remember, Albon did get a point in Miami last year. 2 points, I think, actually. Because Alonso... Oh, no, Stroll who finished 10th and then Albon got bumped up into the points. So De Vries, 78% confidence. Albon, 95%. We're going to go big on the fuel, big on the pace. And, you know, why not? Let's just go for it. We have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, we finish last and second last again. But that's to be expected. We have the slowest car. It is an all Red Bull front row. All right. Let's race in Miami. 5 red lights. And go. We are on board with Nick De Vries at the back of the field. Albon mixing it with the cars ahead of us. Mick Schumacher's lost a place off the line. Tyres overheating. Okay, so maybe let's go down to just aggressive. Is Albon going to have a look down the inside? He is, you know. And is he going to steal a march on Schumacher? Yes, he does. What's everybody else on tyres? Lots of mediums and hards. We're the only cars on softs. But we are due some rain in the opening laps. So as long as that works, as long as that does arrive. And there's Albon and De Vries now up to 18th. Albon up to 16th. We're on the back of Ricciardo. De Vries overtaking Schumacher and Stroll to move forward. We are going absolutely full attack. I'm not too worried about wearing the engines because we'll just take fresh engines and it won't really change where we start anyway. So let's go back to neutral on the fuel. Standard on the tyres. Just make sure they last to probably around lap 6. DRS now enabled. It's frustrating. It slows it down just for the pop-up on the screen. Like the race control thing. It doesn't need to do that. Especially if it's just DRS enabled. We know DRS is going to be enabled. Wet weather predicted. There you go. We'll have DRS. Let's get the intervals up. Vettel has fallen back. And De Vries is challenging him. He's got the inside line. Can he hang out around the outside? No, he can't. But let's go deploy. Go on board with the Dutchman as we go to the inside. Can he brake late into the penultimate corner? He can. He's outbraked and overtaken the 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. Although, no, he's actually clear enough of the Aston Martin. So we're moving up the order in Miami. Albon on the tail of Ricciardo, who's chasing Tsunoda. De Vries now has DRS off the back of Albon. This is all good news. The rain is coming. Let's be aggressive. Let's use the tyres. Go for it, boys. If you are watching, say hello. Let me know who your favourite team or favourite driver is if you're new to the channel. If you're not new to the channel, just say hello anyway. Ricciardo has passed Tsunoda and we are looking like a move on the Japanese driver as well. Here comes Albon. Side by side. Doesn't quite get the move done, but we're in a decent position here to do something. Rain is starting. And the problem we have here is our cars are next to each other on the track. So we're very quickly going to be at intermediates. I think we go straight to wets, at least with one car. So what we're going to do, we are going to put let's, do you know what, I think we put both cars on wets immediately. De Vries is going to have to queue, but that won't matter. Okay. We are up the inside of Tsunoda as everyone piles into the pits. Albon has carried on. Maybe there's something in the coding that because he was offline, he didn't go for the pits. He's got to do a whole lap on dry tyres. Okay, so we're going to be a bit slow here. The track is actually drying out. Magnussen also has gone to wets. Everyone on Inters is going to be absolutely flying, but they might need to pit again as Alonso passes Albon. That is so frustrating, so frustrating. The rain is coming down again. De Vries is going to lose a place to Vettel. So as long as it stays really wet for a while, we'll be in a good position. But if it doesn't, we have blown it. In fact, that's Stroll passing De Vries as well. He's now last, and we need some rain to come down right now. Is anybody else going on to wets? Magnussen's still on wets. Has he gone into the pits? No, he's carried on. Albon does now belatedly come into the pit lane for those wet tyres. Still intermediate levels, but then supposedly rain coming. We've actually passed 2 cars there with De Vries. Mick Schumacher's still on dries, and so is Zhou. What are they doing? Albon is falling back. I think De Vries is going to get eaten up here. No, we're passing Zhou. There you go. So we're not doing terribly. That's Magnussen ahead. And here comes the heavy stuff. So intermediates might not be the tyres to have right now, but if they can survive, they might be okay. The track is now going to be wet. And here we go. So with De Vries, track condition has changed to wet. So let's go with a bit more pace. See if we can't find a way past the Aston Martin, which is slowing us down significantly. We need to do something about this green car. Come on, Nick. Down the outside. Can you pass? Can we pass the Aston Martin again? Oh, yes, we can. Love that. Brilliant move from Nick de Vries. Gasly into the pits now. 4 wet tyres. So as long as it stays wet rather than damp, we're in a good position. Chasing Magnussen, who's also on wets, but struggling to get past the second Aston Martin of Stroll, who is in 10th place. So this is a battle for a point as it stands. Magnussen has passed the Aston Martin, and that's George Russell up ahead of him. There's Albon on the back of Norris. Him missing the pit lane has absolutely ruined his race. Down the outside of a second Aston Martin for the second lap in a row. And now we can get after Kevin Magnussen. We can actually harvest a bit of energy as we do so. Sonoda in for what will be wet tyres as well. Although the track is beginning to dry up a bit. Okay. It will now go to damp and it will swing back the other way. So we will need to box for inters. And our gamble has not paid off. There we go. Inters. But what's going to happen is our inters will be significantly fresher than the others. So as things move on, we are going to have significantly stronger tyres as the race unfolds. So we're going to pit from 11th place. Magnussen carries on. Gasly is in as well. Albon follows de Vries into the pit lane. And we are now both on intermediates. So let's just keep an eye on the lap time. This was a 2-minute 1 that time around. I think we're going to be slower than the McLaren. We are indeed. We're losing time to Lando Norris ahead. Gasly is the car behind. Magnussen's in for fresh tyres. He comes out in 15th. Albon is 18th and cannot catch Zhou Guanyu at the moment. De Vries 10 seconds behind Lando Norris. A safety car, a couple of incidents. Very useful to us now. We'll have a little bit more rain, but we've got this dry spell coming later on, so that could swing things back in our favour. How the computer manages that, it'd be really helpful if Aston Martin could have their cars fall off the track and not get a point. There's still a long way to go in this. All is not lost. He says, more in hope than real intent. Mick Schumacher in. We've had a crash. Who is it? It's not Albon or De Vries. It's Sergio Perez. It's going to be this weird spin, isn't it? There you go. And he's hit the barrier. I'm sure that would be a retirement in real life. He's recovered. Doesn't seem to have any damage. Is he going to head for the pit lane? No. See, they've got to differentiate as well, like a spin versus like an actual accident. I know some crashes, like you might hit the barrier, but you're still able to carry on. But Perez would lose significant performance because of that, because of the rear wing damage. And that just needs to be replicated in the game. So the rain is increasing a little bit. I think with Albon, well, we'll have to keep rolling the dice with somebody. Otherwise, we'll just end up staying where we are. Got another yellow flag. Oh, De Vries has locked up. Russell has spun. De Vries has locked up and now damaged his front wing. Oh. Here we go. At the end of the straight. And, well, I mean, he wouldn't carry on from that. Let's be honest. That would be a failure to finish immediately. Let's... okay, good thing we manufactured more front wings. So Albon into 17th. De Vries into the pits. Let's push with Albon on the fuel. Aerodynamics. Minor damage to the chassis. Okay, well, not a lot we can do about that mid-race. Stroll has lost that 10th place to Ocon now. We are still at damp track conditions. And there's not really anything happening for us. We are battling Mick Schumacher with Nick De Vries. But we are some 8.5 seconds off the back of Yuki Tsunoda in this battle, although we are slightly closing. Tsunoda is 15 seconds behind Albon, who is in turn 11.5 seconds behind Zhou. And it's just not worked out for us now. And that is Verstappen coming up to lap Albon. So really not working out at all for us here. We're going to be a lap down before half distance. And, well, Verstappen's having a lovely old time at the front, isn't he? 10.5 seconds in the lead. But we do have rain increasing. Let's see, how long is that going to last? I mean, it's now wet. Do we throw some more wet tyres at this? Inters will be slower now. Okay, so the two Astons are in. They'll be in for wets. There they go. Do you know what? We're going to hold off because we're not going to get caught out with it drying up quickly again. So Vettel will immediately pass Albon, but it's actually starting to dry up a little bit, and just as they've come out, it's now damp. So the Inters are now faster again. Bottas has just come in for wet tyres as well. Yeah, bad news for Bottas. Okay, so Vettel's actually still a little bit quicker. De Vries still holding off Mick Schumacher. And Zhou is in as well for wets. And the track getting wet again. We do move up to 15th. And suddenly it is very wet. So yeah, it is now absolutely time for wet tyres. Here comes Verstappen lapping us, and that is Zhou absolutely mugging the pair of us. Okay, so wet tyres going on. Not a lot of other cars coming in for them either. We've actually managed to stay ahead of Sonoda. So let's go aggressive with the wet tyres. And now it's drying up again. There you go. So we are behind Carlos Sainz. And the track is back to damp. Where's Albon? There he is. So we need to get back in for some inters. Go for a second set of inters. Oh, this is a messy race. Just pit stops all over the place. The strategy gods have not been on our side today. We are as good as Ferrari, I'd say, on strategy. It's not difficult, to be honest. So we're still only the 1 lap down. Yellow flag there. That was Schumacher running wide. We have lost the position now to Schumacher. But we can push a bit more on our tyres because they're just that much fresher. When are we due the dry stuff? So we'll probably get about 10 laps of dry running at the end. Although the track is drying up now, with more rain expected soon. We are 18th and 20th. Hamilton into the pit lane. What is he going to come back out on? I would assume it's another set of inters. It is. And now he's behind his old buddy Bottas. Verstappen in as well. Okay, so I'm going to try and move this along to the phase of the race where slicks become an option again. Because everyone's just going to be pitting for fresh inters. We've kind of already done that, so maybe we can close a bit of the gap. The rain is coming down, then easing off again. But not enough cars are falling off the road. Everyone's being very well behaved for the most part. And one of the builders outside is singing a merry tune. He's having a good day. So we are actually right on the tail of Yuki Tsunoda with Alex Albon. Can we make the move on the Japanese driver? Let's go standard on the tyres. We'll push and deploy down the back straight. Let's go on board with Alex Albon. Don't think we're close enough here, but maybe into turn 1 perhaps? Maybe. Here we go. Go on, Alex, send it, send it. Yes! There we go. Brilliant from Alex Albon to take 17th place. Got heavy rain again falling. It's up to 3 millimeters of rain on the track. Tsunoda's dropping right back. Oh, okay. Maybe we had to let someone through to lap us. Yeah, it would have been one of the Ferraris. Yeah, Charles Leclerc. But we're still actually a little bit quicker than Tsunoda. And 0.3 a lap quicker that time around. De Vries is on 44 flats with nobody around him. His pace is absolute. Well, he has got that damage. He's on 45.9. He has got the chassis damage. And the track is now fully wet again. But we're just going to hang out for the slicks now. And hopefully the race can turn back in our favour. 2 Astons are back in and we're back ahead of them with Albon. He did a 50.1 that time around. And the track is going to dry up a little bit again. And get wetter again. Stroll right behind. You can see there on the map, Stroll now ahead on the wet tyres, and the track is getting wetter. Okay, but we are due dry shortly. So we might as well, we've committed to this, we might as well stay on the inters now and try and make something of this. Gasly also on wets. Leclerc's just come in for inters, but they have the car performance to make it work. We've just lost 3.5 seconds to Stroll in the first half of this lap. The track is just getting wetter and wetter. Sebastian Vettel now goes past. And a brief moment of joy. Look at it. We're just losing chunks of time. But hopefully we can get the switch to slicks right. And okay, so the rain has now stopped. Lando Norris is in for inters as well. So we need to make these inters last to slicks. And then, hopefully, all those guys on wet will change to inters. And then to slicks as well. And we will be able to beat them to the punch. But we've lost 15 seconds. It's just, yeah. Don't try and second guess the weather, folks. Never works out in your favour. But we are now eating back into that gap as the track dries up. I wonder if they'll be in this lap. Where is Stroll? He's coming. He's now. They're having to move over for cars on the lead lap, and Vettel has gone past Stroll. Will they both dive into the pits for intermediates? No. They're going to hang out and suffer a bit more. We're going to go pushy on the fuel with both cars. De Vries is off the back all on his own. So we need to be ready to move to slicks in the next few moments. We'll try and go first with De Vries just before the track dries out. Hopefully, if there's not enough laps left, the AI might keep them out on the inters. In comes Ricciardo. What's he going on to? More inters. Okay. Track is drying. Magnussen's in 10th place. Albon has overtaken Stroll. And now he's going to pass Vettel. Maybe. Hopefully. Let's charge the battery. Here we go. Down the outside. Can we get it done? Around the outside. Yes, we can. Alex Albon, you beauty. We'll just charge the battery a touch there. Okay. Track drying. De Vries. Let's just see. How quick is it drying here? Okay, let's get De Vries in. Now, Albon has missed the pits for this one. So we'll stick on a set of softs. 100%. There we go. Albon can come in on this lap for softs as well. Can just attack with those tyres. Right, we're going to be the first car onto slicks. And perhaps the second car as well. Let's see. Track now dry. Anyone else coming for the pit lane? That is Norris, who's just gone past it. No, it looks like they're staying out for now. Where's Albon? There he is. He's got 21 seconds on Tsunoda. He might come out still in 15th, you know. Just go aggressive. Gasly in as well. Perez and Alonso in too. Where's Gasly? He's come out ahead of us. Where's Magnussen? He's coming towards the pit lane now, so we will probably not catch him. De Vries now up to 16th. We timed that beautifully with De Vries to get him ahead of both Aston Martins. This race has swung back in our favour. But Tsunoda is closing in behind Nick De Vries. Albon's pretty safe. He's 20 seconds up the road. But that point for Magnussen is going to be huge. It's going to move. It's going to keep Haas in 8th. But it's going to give us a real headache. De Vries has just set the fastest lap. Although I don't see that being held for too long. But maybe on the last lap we could do that with Albon. Because we've got 20 seconds back to De Vries. So we might as well harvest. We'll go standard on the tyres. De Vries has got 1.3 seconds over Tsunoda. So the AlphaTauri isn't in DRS range. So we need to maybe do the fastest lap. Albon's only on lap 53. That's okay. So the bottom 3 are 2 laps down. So where is Albon? Here he is. We are about to be 2 laps down. So that was possibly the worst bit of getting out of the way I've ever seen. So we'll attack, we'll push, and we will deploy with Albon. And let's see what we can do. We'll go on board with the Thai driver. Tyres severely overheating. Yeah, they did not like that first sector, did they? Personal best. Leclerc now has the fastest lap, which is a 33.6, and Albon's personal best is a 36 flat. But he probably wasn't going all out like this. It was a purple final sector. Let's just keep going because we're actually closing on the race leader, which is, and that's actually Perez who's lapped us. Will we get DRS? We might, you know. And that could make all the difference. We did not get DRS when maybe we should have. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get DRS now. Surely. No, apparently if you're lapped, you can't have DRS. Have we got DRS now? There we. How weird. How very weird. We'll deploy on the final lap for us. Max Verstappen has won the race. De Vries comes over the... Tsunoda has overtaken De Vries on the final lap to steal 16th. Albon's still pushing. Personal best first sector. Hopefully we can get the DRS. Down this back straight we did not. So I don't think we're going to get that fastest lap. We don't, but it is a 15th place finish. Crucially though, Magnussen gets 10th and a point for Haas. Vettel and Stroll. That race got away from them. We did rescue things with that switch back to slicks. Albon, his 15th actually takes him above De Vries in the personal battle between our two drivers. Not our best race. Well, I say that. That's probably our best finish, actually. But the way the race panned out was really messy. But then you can say that wet races will be messy because you're just never quite sure. Okay, so CFD upgrade completed. Let's move on. Oliver Guerin as our head of aero. Let's have a look at him. Compare with David Wheater. He is better in every area bar one, and they are the same on drag reduction. So I think we sack this guy off. Say see you later, David, and we bring in Olivier. What is David Wheater's contract? 1.8 million. So let's... How long is his contract? 3 years. We're paying him off. David, you're rubbish. Get out of my sight. 2 million. Olivier. And, you know, 100k to buy yourself a house in the Grove area. Deposit on your mortgage. Send the proposal. He wants more money. 2.6 per year. He's much happier with that. There we go. See you later, David. Olivier is our man. 3 years, yeah, there we go. And then we've got decent race engineers, actually. So that's okay. So we'll have some designs completed. The chassis needs... Need a couple of new tub of chassis to be manufactured because De Vries decided to throw one at the wall in Miami. The underfloor has been designed. Could this be the game changer we've been looking for? So the first bit will be 19th of May. Don't think that will get... Well, it might actually. Ooh, yeah. One of the underfloors will be ready in time. Front wing design completed. Can we manufacture that as well? Oh, we can. Let's have some new front wings. Let's rush them. We might even have 2 of them ready before Spain. Let's go home and continue. Okay, let's do the warehouse. Front wings. And we have 2 of the new front wings available. 1 underfloor. So that's going to go to Albon, because he's higher in the championship. David Beckman, at the moment, not interested. Finish position 15th or better. Let's try that. Let's right, let's head to the Spanish Grand Prix. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure you leave a like. It does help it out, makes it go out to other people who might not have seen it, who might not have seen the channel. And if you haven't seen it already, I put together a little highlights package of Nick de Vries's debut, which came out this morning. And you can check out some of my other videos, the what happened to the last 5 new F1 entries, which came out yesterday. And 5 F2 rookies to watch in 2023. That was Monday's video. Let's take Nick out of the car and put Logan in. Simulate qualifying. Okay. Alright, so it looks like Albon, with the new underfloor, has some pace. And if we can perfect the setup for him, he might be able to just challenge a little bit. Okay, so that, looking at where the oversteer bar is, that is absolutely not helpful. So maybe actually we go that way. Bit more front wing. Cornering. We need to take some of the front wing out, but then that affects the cornering, which he was happy with. Traction was bad. It would just have to be a compromise, Nick. There we go. Okay, so we just take out some front wing there. Braking stability. We can do like that. Straights. We can do that. Actually, a little bit more downforce. Less downforce even. The traction Albon was happy with. Let's go with that. Simulate this session. 18th and 20th. So De Vries has not had a good day for qualifying. He's qualified last for both events. A couple of tenths off of Vettel and still sort of 6 tenths off of the Alpha Tauri of Tsunoda and Ricciardo's McLaren. But we're edging a bit closer. The Haas of Mick Schumacher is always a bit slow. So let's go into this race. I love how the drivers who aren't the starting 20 drivers, when you replace them, when you put a new driver in, they just walk around with the helmet on, the generic helmet. You never get their face. Okay, so yeah, we didn't do a great job on the setup, did we? So we're going to go medium, medium, soft. That is the best strategy around Barcelona, because you finish on the softer tyres when the track is at its best. We're going to keep the fuel sensible, and we're going to start the race, and we're going to hope for total chaos at the front, which means we can get some points. 5 red lights, and off we go. Charging down to turn 1. Albon's already up to 17th. Though he's side by side with Vettel, I can see up ahead. And he's got the place. There's a few cars around us on a soft tyre, including Vettel and Tsunoda, who's directly ahead. We're going down the inside. Soft tyres or no tyres. We're going to have the position from Yuki Tsunoda. Mick Schumacher's the car up ahead on hard tyres. Tsunoda's still muscling it out. We are side by side through the chicane. That would never happen. De Vries has got himself up to 19th. We've lost the position to Tsunoda. And that is a bit of an issue because Tsunoda's generally a bit slow. As long as we can stay in there with some DRS. But then Mick Schumacher, he's actually doing okay. We need to get back round to turn 9 with everyone about a second apart. Zhou is the cork in the bottle. DRS now enabled. De Vries chasing Vettel. And Schumacher has dropped us behind... a second behind Norris. So that could be our problem. So we will now get DRS with Albon. Tsunoda is absolutely all over Schumacher. There's such a difference in tyre performance. And Tsunoda going for the inside and taking the place. Well, that's Schumacher actually fighting his corner really well here. They're going to go side by side through the chicane. Totally realistic. And we're just sitting here with our popcorn, waiting for these two crash-happy drivers to do just that. But unfortunately, they haven't. Okay, now we're just going to be stuck in a DRS train because Schumacher hasn't got the speed to get past Tsunoda. I think Vettel has gone off. Yeah. De Vries was behind him. So now what we need to do is push with De Vries, close up to Albon. I think, have we achieved that? No. The way the times move around, and Albon actually getting past Mick Schumacher. Let's push and actually deploy to get up to the back of Tsunoda. And that'll bring Schumacher with us. We'll deploy with De Vries as well. Did we get the DRS? No, we were just outside it, which is incredibly frustrating because now Tsunoda could just disappear. De Vries not really closing the gap as I had hoped he might. Okay, so we're going to deploy for the second half of the lap and see if we can't catch Tsunoda for the main straight. 1.3 behind. 1.1, 1.4. We're out of battery with no DRS. So that has not worked out. We have gapped Schumacher. So let's just see how this race unfolds from here. We are 16th and 18th. Magnussen annoyingly hanging around on the edge of the points again. De Vries has locked up and gone off the track. Turn 6. And has dropped to 19th. Where is Vettel? Right behind him. And there goes the German. Albon now 2 seconds behind Tsunoda. Schumacher on his tail. So De Vries, with his latest mistake, has dropped to last. And this is going to be a recurring theme, I think. We're going to be putting in rookies who are going to have stats that just aren't very good, and they're going to make a lot of errors. And we do have to have at least one rookie. So maybe if one is impressing and improving, we can keep them in the car and they can become the driver that wins us the World Championship. But we must always have a rookie in the car. So it's going to make it really difficult to win the Constructors' Championship. Albon, we need to harvest with you. De Vries going to get the DRS? No, he's still lagging behind. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Who has made a mistake? Alonso running wide on turn 7. So that's not really of any consequence. He's still 10th. Still holding off Mick Schumacher. Although I think I might have just put the curses on it. There he goes. Oof. Taking a bit of grass as he does so. It was because we've been harvesting energy. So we've lost 16th position. But now we will have the DRS and the advantage to go a bit quicker down the straights. De Vries again just falling behind Vettel. Vettel is on soft tyres, so he will probably be boxing soon. And Tsunoda's also on those softer tyres. So perhaps this race will be a little bit like Miami, where it comes back to us towards the end. Another yellow flag. It was a Bottas spin. He's now at 11th, and that gives Magnussen 10th place, which moves them another point away from us, the Haas team. Another yellow flag. That looks like a Mercedes. I think that was Russell with a lockup. Yeah, and now Alonso's on his tail. And there's Magnussen. Alonso muscling his way through. Russell fighting back. And hanging on for now. And here's De Vries, who's doing nothing. Albon, right on the tail of the second Haas of Mick Schumacher. We're going to keep harvesting some energy there because we've got the DRS. We can even show the nose down the outside. Now we've got a little bit more energy to play with. We'll harvest with De Vries as well, seeing as he's 2.5 seconds off the back of Vettel. Has Albon fallen out of DRS zone? Yes, he has. We need to do something about that. He's got back into it. He's just hovering on the edge of it. Can we get him back into it with a little bit of deployment? Still just on the edge of it. No, still not. Got it, no. Well, this is not ideal. If we don't have the DRS, then we're definitely going to just fall away. Though we're just hanging on the edge. Yeah, there you go. Now it's 1.5, 1.6. We simply don't have the energy to go and close the gap again. 2 laps to the pit window opening. Just a thought, having those new bits designed reopens the gaps, and we can do a bit of research for the Season 2 car. So we can get a head start on that and just make sure the car is more competitive than it is in this season. Okay, Alonso is the first man in. We've got a yellow flag. What was that for? Perez running wide on turn 7. Pit window now entered. So let's see how this shakes out for us. We have been losing time to Schumacher. We're about 0.2 a lap slower. That's, I mean, it's not that big a deficit in race pace that we need to make up. And if we can make that up to the Haas team, then we can be fairly competitive around them. Schumacher is on the hard tyre, so he's going to be going, well, so we need to make up quite a bit still. Albon will be pitting this lap. We'll bring De Vries in as well. We'll double stack. Albon into the pit lane. So is De Vries. Slick work from the boys there. Both cars turned around. But now De Vries is going to fall a lap behind. Well, he already has. That wasn't the race leading Red Bull. That was Sergio Perez behind De Vries. Albon is the next car to be lapped. Where is Verstappen? He's just a couple of corners behind. And we are 6 seconds behind Yuki Tsunoda, who stopped a bit earlier because he was on soft tyres, so those mediums won't last as long. Magnussen up in 5th on the hard tyre. Making that strategy work in the Haas. kind of in Nowheresville with both cars. I mean, we are a little bit off the Aston Martin there with De Vries. There is Vettel ahead. Of course, Vettel made an error earlier in the race, locking up and going off the track. And we just simply don't have the pace. Let's try. Let's push with the fuel and see if we can't close the gap. Albon, let's see what we can do with you as well before you go a lap down. We're hovering around 6 seconds behind Tsunoda. Let's see if we can close that down a touch. Allow the race leader through. See if we can follow them. Maybe pick up some well, I say pick up some DRS, but we'd have to get out of the way at a sensible position to do it. Maybe we'll get it here. Might do, you know. Yeah. Lovely stuff. Get the DRS off of Charles Leclerc. But we'll only get one dose of it because I don't think we'll be close enough down the pit straight. Yeah, certainly not. Ferrari just pulling away from us. Here's De Vries. He is slowly closing up on Vettel. A couple of tenths a lap. If he can get in the DRS range, then he'll have a chance. Magnussen into the pit lane. Where does he filter out? We're not directly racing him, but any points that he scores is bad news for us. Bottas is coming down the pit straight. Alonso's coming down the pit straight. Magnussen's actually ahead of Alonso. Let's deploy with De Vries because he's got some energy to use. Albon is now 10 seconds behind Tsunoda. Having to get out of the way of the leaders has cost him a lot of time. And now De Vries is in the DRS zone of 1 second to Sebastian Vettel. And this is going to be our season. Just sort of running around in nowhere, occasionally fighting a Haas, definitely fighting the Aston Martins. Mick Schumacher's now come into the pit lane. Let's see where he comes out. He stops on his marks now. Out he comes, and Albon's coming down the road. It's going to be close. We haven't quite undercut. What is Schumacher on? I think he's gone on to mediums. Yeah, he's gone on to fresh mediums. He will now pull away. Let's see if we can't close that gap down. 9/10 of a second there. Did we get DRS? We did. Chance to stay with the Haas. De Vries still on Vettel's tail. So now we've actually got some action to get our teeth into in this race. Didn't quite get the DRS, but we are half a second behind. De Vries also with DRS against Vettel. Having a look at it in the battle to not finish the race last. We are halfway through this race. I think now we might just be able to hang with the Haas. We're chasing a German driver ahead in both battles. Just make sure we stay within a second here, please, Alex. He did not. Excellent. And that might just be the last we see of Mick Schumacher today. Here comes De Vries. DRS open. Moves to the outside. Can he go past the Aston Martin? Oh, he can. Oh, yes, he can. Now can he get after Lance Stroll? Let's watch that again. This was an excellent move. brakes late, sweeps in around the outside, keeps it on the track. Job done. We do need to close the gap to Lance Stroll. We've already fallen a second and a half behind Mick Schumacher with Albon. Closing to just over a second behind Stroll. We are pushing on the engine. What's Stroll's tyre life like? He's actually got slightly better tyres than we do. But it is Lance Stroll. There's a mistake coming somewhere. Let's deploy for the pit straight. We won't get the DRS this time around. But we have gapped Vettel. So the pace is there. When we do push, the pace is okay, but we just can't push for a long time. Albon has run wide and cost himself a few seconds there, but he hasn't lost a position. What happened to Albon? He's just run through the gravel. Yeah, that's all. Nothing that dramatic. Is De Vries going to get the DRS this time? Not quite. Let's push and deploy through the final sector. See if we can pick up the DRS activation. Battery is empty now. We didn't get the DRS. But we are able to match Stroll. Which I know doesn't mean too much, because Lance Stroll isn't considered to be a world beater. But still, it's a decent marker. He's an experienced driver. So not too bad, although we've fallen 1.6 behind now, 1.5 behind. Yeah, 4/10 we lost on that lap. We'll be back though for another assault on 18th place. I mean, Albon's doing 24.6s and Stroll is 25.3s. So if we can get De Vries into an area where he can match Albon's lap times, then we'll be looking all right. Okay, the gap has come down to 1.2, 1.3 seconds. Stroll is 17 seconds behind Albon now. Albon just running his own race by this point. So we need to push on the tyres. How long to the pit window? 5 laps, then we're going to go on to softs. What has Stroll been on? Tyre history. Stroll is following the same as us. He pitted a lap earlier and his tyres are lasting. He's actually pretty good on the tyres. Here's Lance. Here come the lead cars. We've actually picked up DRS from the Alpine, which is Ocon. Gasly's the next one through. Let's ride on board with Nick De Vries for a little bit. Need to re-close that gap to Stroll. We need to be going quick when he is having to move out of the way, which he isn't quite yet. But we are closing the gap. Now he's got out of the way, it would seem. And this is our moment to pounce. Can we get into the DRS zone? I think. Oh, it changed so quickly. We had to move out of the way for Gasly coming through. So we've still got 3 laps to the pit window. Let's see if we can be there when it matters. Let's deploy down the straight. What's that behind? Is that George Russell? That is George Russell. There's Stroll. We haven't got... so we've had to let Russell through at exactly the same point. Hello to Whoa HIV in the chat. Didn't know Stroll was that smooth on the tyres in the game. Yeah, he's actually surprisingly good on tyres, all things considered. He does make a lot of errors though. And his pace generally isn't that good. Has he had to let the Mercedes through yet? He lets him through in the chicane, of all places. That is mad. It would never happen. It'd never ever do that. Alonso into the pits. How are you, my friend? HIV in the chat. How are you today? We are... just haven't got quite enough to get into that 1 second window. Pit window entered. Wonder if we can undercut him with De Vries. But the problem with De Vries is he eats his tyres heavily. So let's see if we can. Vettel into the pits. De Vries is actually in the DRS zone now. How has he managed that? Did Stroll make a mistake? Yeah, I am all good. Having a good time with F1 Manager here. Not scoring any points, but, you know, still. It's just fun to play, isn't it? It'd be even more fun if we can... ah, no, we had to let Leclerc through. Are we now 2 laps down? Oh my gosh, De Vries is now 2 laps down. So, yellow flag, sector 2. Sainz running wide. We've got the DRS against Stroll. There's Albon just doing his thing now. 7 seconds behind Mick Schumacher. Schumacher, I wonder, doing a 1 stop. He might be, you know. Yellow in sector 2. Ocon has spun at turn 5. And Magnussen's now 6th. Which for us is an absolute nightmare. So Albon's going to be boxing this lap. We'll attack with him on the tyres. What is Stroll going to do? He pits. As we have to let... I think... I'm not sure who that was actually coming through. Let's... box now. Is that Magnussen? That was Magnussen lapping De Vries. Things have not gone our way today in terms of the other teams not scoring points. Magnussen picked up a point in Miami in a wet race, which we pitted, I think we pitted like 4 times. It was absolutely ludicrous. Okay. Just time it to come off attacking the tyres. Do it there. Albon out of the pits, and both our drivers are going to stop on the same lap again. I think Mick Schumacher is doing a one-stopper, which isn't fast around Barcelona. Because by the time it gets to a sort of a lap 60, his tyres are going to be struggling. So unless he's going to pit soon, we might be able to close the gap to Schumacher. I mean, we are quite a way off. De Vries... Did he not pit? It's that weird glitch again where if you put them both on the same lap, one of them just randomly decides not to pit. And now De Vries is behind both Aston Martins again. The only way you could score points in the Williams save was wet weather strategies. Yeah. Unfortunately, my wet weather strategies aren't brilliant. Especially when the car isn't very good. I keep taking risks. Constantly rolling the dice and never seems to work out for some reason. That's probably an area where I need to improve. Right, let's push with Albon. De Vries has picked up DRS from the lead cars ahead of him, but he's falling behind Vettel, who is also on soft tyres. As Schumacher has pitted and abandoned that one stopper, so he's gone hard, medium, soft. So has Magnussen. But I suppose it's worked out, especially for Magnussen. He's up in 9th. So we're not going to see points on the board today, sadly. We are 22.9 versus a 23.2. We are pushing on the fuel, though, to try and catch Mick Schumacher. De Vries has overtaken Vettel for the second time in this race. Last I checked, he was 3 seconds behind. Here we go. It's a carbon copy round the outside, sweeping in on the racing line. It's exactly how he did it earlier in the race. But this time, can he catch and pass Lance Stroll? Please. In fact, he is now passing Stroll. There we go. Pouncing when the Aston Martins had to get out of the way to be lapped. Albon, the only driver... Well, he's the next driver to go 2 laps down, and there is the Red Bull coming to do just that. De Vries is 41 seconds behind his teammate. I suppose he's the one that we work out how to really execute this save with. Once we get all of the factory stuff in line, the driver development, then I suppose we can give a driver, like a prospective driver, the reserve role, give them lots of time in the car, and make sure they're ready for their first season. Make sure the car's good as well. We've pulled a second-ish on Stroll. What's Albon up to? Is he now 2 laps down? Not yet. He is still chasing the Haas of Mick Schumacher. Is it worth going aggressive on the tyres? Did we upgrade the underfloor? Yes, that's come through just before this race. So Albon has actually got a new underfloor on the car right now. And that might explain why Albon is 42 seconds clear of De Vries. Because we had a new front wing for both cars. And we had one underfloor available, which I put on Albon's car because he's higher in the championship. So, yeah, I mean, we're working on developments. We're going to start researching for next year as well. So, hopefully things will start coming together for us. We've pulled out 1.8 seconds now on Stroll with De Vries. So, making Aston Martin look very foolish by finishing ahead of both of their cars around Spain. So we're just going to move this along to the end of the race. I don't think we're going to close the gap enough on Mick Schumacher. Yeah, we're within half a tenth of each other, really. In fact, we've lost a bit of time there. I think that was because we went 2 laps down. Perez with a lock-up at turn 12, but he's still up in 4th. 55 seconds almost clear of Hamilton. Look at that. I mean, if we go to the track map, you can see Hamilton's coming through the final sector and Perez is coming through turn 9. And that's the gap between 4th and 5th, which is madness. De Vries has locked up and thrown away all of his good work. He locked up and crashed in Miami. He's locked up twice today. Real problem with Nick De Vries is keeping the car on the road. And we could have finished ahead of both Aston Martins with both cars, but that's not going to happen now. Which is a shame. Last lap for Max Verstappen, who's going to make it 2 wins in a row in this episode. Another yellow flag. Who was that for? Magnussen in 9th. Tsunoda making a mistake as well. Verstappen over the line for the win. Albon actually chasing Tsunoda. That almost handed us a position. De Vries is going to be last man over the line. A tough race, yeah. Great job, well done. Yeah. Great job on 17th. That's not what we're here for, boys and girls. We remain planted to the bottom of the table. Haas now with 3 points. That is a massive margin for us to catch. Sergio Perez with a 20.9 fastest lap. Well, not quite the success we were hoping for, but we have signed Logan Sargent today. We have bolted on our first couple of upgrades. We have begun work on the design center so we can design more parts. I suppose before we go, let's get a couple of things going for research. Let's research. Here we go, research. So we've got minor changes to the front wing and rear wing, underfloor and suspension. Let's go with some research on the underfloor. And then we'll improve drag reduction, low speed, medium speed, high speed, and the sensitivity. So that's going to take 96 days, but let's put 4 engineers on it. So that'll be done by August. It's going to cost us $1 million. And right, let's do. Okay, so we desperately need to improve top speed. So what we're going to do, we're going to plow a load of time into a new rear wing. We'll just use the whole lot. Drag reduction, We'll do a little bit on each of these just to finish off the stream. DRS Delta, yeah, let's do that. And that'll come through in July, which will be just in time. So 12th of July, that'll be just in time for the French and Hungarian Grand Prix, which in France the DRS will be very important, but Hungary a bit less so. All right, well, let's change screens. There we go. Thank you to everybody who watched the stream. If you missed this, if you missed the beginning of it, you can always catch up on the vlog later on. It goes live once YouTube's done its thing, so it'll be there later. The whole season, the whole thing is on a playlist, so you can find that on the channel as well. Make sure you go and check out some of my other videos, which conveniently are coming through under me right now. So we had the 5 F2 drivers to watch. I cursed Sebastian Vettel. That's a shorts video. What happened to the last 5 new F1 entries. That came out yesterday. Today's video was Nick de Vries' debut highlights, so you can check that out. And tomorrow I've got the highlights from Tuesday's stream, so a 25-minute blockbuster video, I'd say, with all the chaos that Tuesday's stream held for us. So thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the stream, give it a like. If you enjoyed it after the fact, give it a like as well. Subscribe for more Grand Prix content. I'm going live on Saturday morning for Formula E watch along, so I'll see you there for that. And thanks very much for joining me. I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.